Chile's flag. Now, I have a couple thoughts about Chile's flag. Chile's flag is just like America's flag, but really, really, really simple. It's got the star, singular. It has stripes, but it only has 2 of them.
No, it's like the Texas flag.
Yeah, it's the same basic arrangement and everything as the US's flag, but really simple. Also, as Mai points out, it is pretty much Texas's flag, which I will not count that against Chile, because Chile's a beautiful, wonderful place. Not saying anything wrong about Texas. Also, second random thought. I think I could tell what country we are in by what method of spiky stuff they have. We just happened to walk past one. So that's Chile's version of spiky stuff. All of South America seems to have their own variety of spikes that they put on everything. And how much spikes depend on what country you're in. You go to some place like Peru and they embed glass bottles and break them off in the concrete. A little crude, but has got to be a very effective method for don't get on this wall. Bolivia, they like their spikes, but they put them in very dangerous places and all over the place. Much more crude spikes too. Ecuador, I don't know. I wasn't really looking at glass bottles in Ecuador too.
Yeah, and Galapagos too.
Oh yeah, glass bottles in Ecuador too. I feel like there was probably more glass bottles broken in Peru than Ecuador, but glass bottles. Argentina, they go for spikes, but they're a little bit more pretty spikes, a little more decorative. Chile's spikes, they're still pretty, but they're a little bit different. I feel like Argentina's spikes were like this. They were much more intricate, much prettier, and often painted. So there you go. If you're lost and you don't know what country you're in, just look at the spikes and you have a pretty sure bet. So I got some kind of random thoughts for you guys while we're sitting in the car and driving. I was thinking and realizing the other day that I absolutely love and am attracted towards people that have a passion for something. And it doesn't really matter what that passion is. And I think it's why I like a lot of cooks so much, because cooks are very passionate people. They love their art, they're very devoted to it, they devote hours after hours of their time to perfecting their craft and doing their thing. You don't find that in all careers. I mean, when you're talking like accountants or anything, you usually don't, your standard cubicle worker, you don't find that passion. They don't love their job. They just work on their job to make money, to make an income. But I love seeing that passion, and it doesn't have to be somebody's job. It can be anything. I mean, it can be something that they're into. Maybe they're a Battlestar Galactica fan or whatever it is. But when they devote that huge chunk of their life to making whatever that they like better. One of the thought was running through my head when we were in a bus. We were in a bus in Bariloche, and this was a public bus. It was a really neat public bus, though. The guy that was the driver of the bus, he pimped his bus out, which is great because it's just a public bus. I mean, he doesn't have to do anything to it. Most public buses are pretty boring, but he put fuzzy things on all the mirrors with lights that glowed. He put a whole entertainment system in it. I'm sure this guy did it himself because we saw other buses there and they were all your standard boring bus. But he just customized the crap out of this bus.
The teething.
Yeah, so he had a tank of water which he welded onto one of the bars, and it made instant hot water for his mate tea. You're looking at pictures of it right now. It's probably pretty small in the pictures, but yeah. And so he could just press a button and hot water goes into his mate teacup. Really cool. But that probably enriches his life a lot. Sorry to pause you guys. Just looking at some beautiful views.
The trees, which is interesting.
Anyways, mate tea. But this, it might seem kind of silly because this isn't his bus, and people are like, oh, I would never put that much work into it. But why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you put that much work into it? If you drive bus for 8 hours a day, every single day, that is the huge chunk, the majority of the time that you're up and awake. And why not make that spot better? Just because it's not yours, or because what? It's only going to make your life better if you do those things. I mean, hot mate tea all the time, whatever floats your boat. I think it's always nice to see people who personalize their office or their space, or in this case, a bus. Anyways, passion. I love people with passion.
So I'm kind of, one of those traveler, adrenaline junkie sort of people. Being that, I got a wild ride for you. Just let Mai rent a car and drive you around for a while. If you want to get your heart racing, I got the ticket for you right here.
Wow, look at that hair. That is something else. Wow. Anyways, I just got up and I was thinking that some things really stick with you, and something that has been sticking with me is absolutely ridiculous. In Bolivia, they have these people that dress up in zebra costumes and help you cross the street. So they aren't just any people, they have to be the happiest people in the
Buen dia,
world.
¿cómo está?
It is so odd and bizarre. So you have these like costume zebra people that run out in the middle of the road and are all happy, la da 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 da. They say good morning to everybody, and it's like they just had 10 cups of coffee, and they're all pretty much the same. I think they're pretty fantastic, but they help you cross the street, and I'm sure I can dig up some videos or pictures of them because I want to share these people with the world because I think they're fantastic. So, why are toilets made out of porcelain? I was thinking about this earlier. There are so many things you can make a toilet out of. Just hard plastics, which I would assume would be cheap, or metals. You do see a couple metal toilets out there from time to time, but for the mass majority, they're all made out of porcelain. And they have been for how long? I don't know. Really long time. Everybody has been sitting on porcelain toilets for a very long time. I was just thinking there's got to be something better, something that doesn't crack, I don't know, a better material out there to make a toilet out of. Why do Adam and Eve have belly buttons? Not a terribly religious person, as people know, but I do think about religion from time to time. I was thinking about Adam and Eve when I saw a picture of them, and they both have belly buttons. But why? It's gotta be pure economics when it comes down to the toilet thing. I'm still thinking about toilets. So, porcelain has gotta be the most economical choice, but also like durability and keeping it clean. Like, it's really easy to clean porcelain. It's gotta be it. I can't be the first person out there to think of a different material for toilets. I can't be.
It's metal toilets.
It's got to make sense. Mai's chiming in. Yes, there are metal toilets. I feel like they're relatively new, and they're not around very many places. I mean, the majority of the toilets out there are the same toilet that you've had for, gonna stick a number at it, 200 years. I feel like we've had porcelain toilets forever. And I just want that to change. I want it to be something else. I don't know what I want it to be. but I want it to be something else. I want somebody to come up with a better toilet. So there you go, YouTube. I got a challenge for you. You need to come up with a better toilet that's not porcelain to make Kevin happy. Thank you. So I think a dog really has its life. You see, no, it don't see to avoid the cars. It's not gonna run out in front of it. I think dogs have their lives made for them in South America. They can just roam and walk and do whatever they want. South America is freedom for the dogs. Freedom. Like America style freedom, but much better. Leash laws in South America, please. No leash laws here. Now, a lot of the dogs I thought were gonna be strays coming into South America, but a lot of the dogs, they actually have owners, they have collars and names, but they just wander around town. They say hi to people, they follow people. Oh, this makes me think of the most adorable, nice dog we met. We met this dog in Puerto Natales. Hey babe, what was the dog's name in Puerto Natales? Maria, yeah. We bought Maria a little bag of dog food, like a little tiny pouch of dog food, and fed it. She was a really nice dog. Walked and followed us everywhere. I think she was trying to keep us safe, but you know, keep all the other dogs away from us. She was a good dog. I've never been a big fan of tipping, and I think the hotel industry can do that to you. The hotel industry in the US, at least, is out of control with its tipping. Now, tipping has a certain place. If somebody goes above and beyond their normal job duties or does something extra special, I get it. They should get a tip. It's a nice thing to do, but the tipping industry in the US, working in a hotel like I did, you park your car, you gotta tip the valet, you gotta tip the door person, they carry your bags upstairs for you, you gotta tip that person. You have to tip the housekeeper that cleaned your room. You go down to breakfast, you have to tip the omelet person. Despite it's a free breakfast, you tip the omelet person that made an omelet for you. And then you tip the bussers before you leave. It is absolutely out of control. And most of these people, they do their job. It's not anything extra special, it's the job that they're paid to do. The problem is they're not paid enough to do their job, and so the consumer has to put in that extra money so that they can have a living income. It's kind of nutty, but so most of South America, tipping isn't a thing. It's not something you do. It's nice. A lot of countries you don't tip, and I kind of like it. It moves back to that older style of tipping, where you would only tip if somebody did something extra special. Or like a free walking tour. Somebody provides their time for free, yeah, you throw them a few bucks. Tipping in Chile is a little bit different. Chilean tipping, you go to, it's mostly only in restaurants. You don't tip like taxi drivers or anything like that. But so you go to a restaurant and there's a almost compulsory 10% tip added on. They put an automatic 10% tip on the bill. You could not pay it. We don't really know if that's something that people do, and so we just always pay the 10% tip. But it's always a 10%. In the US, I feel like back sometime before I was tipping or before I was born, a 10% tip would have been good. And now a 10% tip is something you give somebody who did a bad job or, just did their job. It's kind of in the crummy area of tipping, but it's the standard here, and it's the only tip that people really give, and it's automatically added onto the check. I kind of like that. If I have to tip, I don't have to guess how much I'm going to tip or like what the percentage is. Is this good? Is this enough? Is it any of those things? It's already on there too. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to, calculate, 10%'s not hard, but I don't have to do it. And I don't have to think about it. It's just there. Pay the tip. Gone. I like it as a system. If you got a tip, it's a good one to have. I was looking at Reddit, And this article came up in the Today I Fucked Up section, where a guy sat on a toilet, yes, a porcelain one, and he broke the toilet off the wall, and the toilet broke into pieces and cut him up. Not bad, very minor cuts, but then a whole bunch of other people chimed in with their own toilet breaking stories, and apparently broken porcelain is extremely sharp, and people have been very severely cut up by broken toilets. Another thing added on.